Markham is P2. The race session is at Sebring International Raceway in Sebring FL, USA. Sam Markham from Zimbabwe is P10 with 100 kilos on softs. Daniel Hand from Germany is P1 on softs. Dara Atkinson from Ireland is P3 on mediums. Glenn Field from United Kingdom is P4 on mediums. Brian Patterson is P5 on softs. David Forsyth from Ireland is P6 on mediums. Alex Amara from Ireland is P7 on softs. Mark Scott from Norway is P8 on softs. Rene Robertson is P9 with 40 kilos on mediums. Richard Ogden is P10 on hards. Sam Markham is P11. John Astrup from New Zealand is P12 with 10 kilos on mediums. Emanuele Rusciusa from Italy is P13 on mediums. David Kelsall is P14 on mediums. Eric Bohm from Germany is P1 with 80 kilos on softs. "30 minutes remaining in the session. Daniel Hand is P2. Race start. Alex Amara is P5. Dara Atkinson is P2. David Forsyth is P7. John Astrup is P8. David Kelsall is P5. Daniel Hand is P9. Sam Markham is P13. Richard Ogden is P4. John Astrup is P8. David Kelsall is P5. Daniel Hand is P9. Rene Robertson is P3. David Kelsall is P7. Rene Robertson is P3. Richard Ogden entering the pits is P13. David Kelsall is P5, 0.1 seconds behind Mark Scott. Best lap is a 2:27.682. 6.857 of the fastest lap. Rene Robertson is P3, 0.2 seconds behind Emanuele Rusciusa. Daniel Hand is P5, 0.3 seconds behind Mark Scott. Rene Robertson is P3, 0.5 seconds behind Emmanuel Russia. Mark Scott is P5 on softs, 0.4 seconds behind Daniel Hand. David Kelsall is P7, 0.2 seconds behind San Marco. Glenn Field is P10, 0.3 seconds behind Alex Amaro. John Astrup is P8 with 10 kilos, 0.2 seconds ahead of Alex Amaro. Mark Scott entering the pits after 2 laps on softs is P13. Rene Robertson is P3, 0.5 seconds behind Emmanuel Russia. David Kelsall is P8, 0.4 seconds behind John Astrup. Rene Robertson is P3, 0.4 seconds behind Emmanuel Russia. Best lap is a 2:24.334. 3.509 of the fastest lap. Glenn Field is P10 on mediums battling Dara Atkinson. Rene Robertson is P3 with 40 kilos, 0.1 seconds behind Emmanuel Russia. Dara Atkinson is P10 on mediums, 0.4 seconds ahead of John Astrup. Emmanuel Russia on lap 3 is P3, 0.1 seconds behind Rene Robertson. 25 minutes remaining in the session. Glenn Field is P8, 0.1 seconds behind Alex Amaro. Emmanuel Russia is P3, 0.1 seconds ahead of Daniel Han. Alex Amaro from Ireland is P9 battling Dara Atkinson. Daniel Han is P4, 0.5 seconds behind Emmanuel Russia. David Kelsall entering the pits after 3 laps on mediums is P12. Alex Amaro is P9, 0.1 seconds behind Dara Atkinson. Daniel Han is P4, 0.3 seconds behind Emmanuel Russia. Alex Amaro is P9 battling Dara Atkinson. San Marco is P5 with 100 kilos, 0.5 seconds behind Emmanuel Russia. Alex Amaro from Ireland is P9, 0.3 seconds behind Dara Atkinson. San Marco is P5, 0.3 seconds ahead of Eric Bohm. Dara Atkinson from Ireland is P8, 0.2 seconds behind Alex Amaro. Daniel Han is P3, 0.2 seconds behind Rene Robertson. Glenn Field from United Kingdom is P11. Rene Robertson is P3, 0.3 seconds behind Daniel Han. Dara Atkinson from Ireland is P8, 0.1 seconds behind Alex Amaro. Rene Robertson is P3, 0.5 seconds behind Daniel Han. John Astrup is P8, 0.3 seconds behind Dara Atkinson. Eric Bohm is P5 with 80 kilos, 0.1 seconds behind San Marco. Dara Atkinson on lap 4 is P7, 0.5 seconds ahead of John Astrup. San Marco is P5, 0.5 seconds behind Eric Bohm. Best lap is a 1:59.926. 0.841 of the fastest lap. Eric Bohm is P4, 0.5 seconds ahead of San Marco. Glenfield entering the pits after 4 laps on mediums is P11. Glenfield is P11. John Astrup is P8, 0.6 seconds behind Dara Atkinson. Daniel Handke is P2, 0.3 seconds behind Brian Patterson. San Marco is P5 with 100 kilos, 0.3 seconds behind Eric Bohm. 20 minutes remaining in the session. Daniel Handke is P2, 0.3 seconds behind Brian Patterson. Brian Patterson is P2, 0.2 seconds behind Daniel Handke. San Marco is P5, 0.3 seconds behind Eric Bohm. Brian Patterson is P2, 0.5 seconds behind Daniel Handke. San Marco is P5 with 100 kilos, 0.3 seconds behind Eric Bohm. Eric Bohm on lap 6 is P5. John Astrup is P8 with 10 kilos, 0.4 seconds behind Dara Atkinson. Dara Atkinson is P7, 0.5 seconds ahead of John Astrup. Brian Patterson on lap 6 is P2, 0.7 seconds ahead of Rene Robertson. Dara Atkinson is P7, 0.6 seconds ahead of John Astrup. Brian Patterson is P2, 0.7 seconds ahead of Rene Robertson. Daniel Handke on lap 7 is P1, 3.3 seconds ahead of Brian Patterson. Rene Robertson is P3, 0.1 seconds behind Brian Patterson. Dara Atkinson from Ireland is P7, 0.6 seconds ahead of John Astrow. Rene Robertson is P3 with 40 kilos, 0.4 seconds behind Brian Patterson. Dara Atkinson is P7, 0.4 seconds ahead of John Astrow. Rene Robertson is P3, 0.3 seconds behind Brian Patterson. Dara Atkinson is P7, 0.4 seconds ahead of John Astrow. Rene Robertson is P3, 0.4 seconds behind Brian Patterson. Eric Bone is P7, 0.3 seconds behind Dara Atkinson. Best lap is a 1:59.743. 0.658 of the fastest lap. "15 minutes remaining in the session." Dara Atkinson is P6, 0.4 seconds ahead of Eric Bone. John Astrow is P8 with 10 kilos, 0.3 seconds behind Eric Bone. Eric Bone is P7, 0.2 seconds ahead of John Astrow. Brian Patterson is P5, 0.7 seconds ahead of Dara Atkinson. Best lap is a 2:00.792. 1.707 of the fastest lap. Eric Bone is P6 on softs, 0.3 seconds behind Dara Atkinson. Brian Patterson entering the pits after 8 laps on softs is P9. Sam Markham entering the pits after 8 laps on softs is P3. Sam Markham from Zimbabwe is P3, 3.3 seconds behind Rene Robertson. John Astrow is P6, 0.8 seconds behind Eric Bone. Sam Markham is P4, 2.7 seconds behind Emmanuel Richard. Eric Bone is P5 battling John Astrow. Daniel Handke is P1 on softs. John Astrow is P5, 0.1 seconds behind Eric Bone. Alex Amaro entering the pits after 8 laps on softs is P9. Eric Bone is P4, 0.4 seconds ahead of John Astrow. Alex Amaro is P9. John Astrup is P5, 0.4 seconds behind Eric Byrne. Daniel Handke is P1. Daniel Handke entering the pits after 9 laps on softs is P1. John Astrup is P5 with 10 kilos, 0.2 seconds behind Eric Byrne. Daniel Handke is P2. John Astrup on lap 9 is P5, 0.3 seconds behind Eric Byrne. Emmanuel Russia user entering the pits after 9 laps on mediums is P3. Eric Byrne entering the pits after 9 laps on softs is P4. Emmanuel Russia user is P3, 2.1 seconds ahead of John Astrup. John Astrup is P3 on mediums. Emmanuel Russia user is P8, 1.6 seconds behind David Forsyth. Eric Byrne is P8, 4.7 seconds behind Emmanuel Russia user. Alex Amaro is P9. Best lap is a 2:04.291. 5.206 off the fastest lap. Eric Byrne is P8. 10 minutes remaining in the session. Dara Atkinson from Ireland is P4, 1.7 seconds behind Daniel Handke. Alex Amaro is P9. Dara Atkinson is P4, 1.5 seconds ahead of San Marco. Dara Atkinson entering the pits after 10 laps on mediums is P4. John Astrup is P2, 1.6 seconds ahead of Daniel Handke. Dara Atkinson is P6 on softs, 1.3 seconds ahead of Emmanuel Russia user. Daniel Handke is P3, 1.2 seconds behind John Astrup. Eric Byrne is P7 with 80 kilos, 4.0 seconds behind Emmanuel Russia user. Daniel Handke is P3, 0.7 seconds behind John Astrup. Best lap is a 1:59.085. Alex Amaro is P9. John Astrup entering the pits after 11 laps on mediums is P3. John Astrup from New Zealand is P3, 3.1 seconds behind Daniel Han. Rene Robertson is P1. John Astrup from New Zealand is P4. Rene Robertson is P1. David Forsyth entering the pits after 11 laps on mediums is P5. David Forsyth is P5. John Astrup is P4, 1.0 seconds ahead of Emmanuel Rushiuza. David Forsyth is P8 on softs. Best lap is a 2:03.303. 4.218 off the fastest lap. Eric Bohm is P5, 2.4 seconds behind Emmanuel Rushiuza. David Forsyth is P8. Eric Bohm is P5 on softs, 1.7 seconds behind Emmanuel Rushiuza. Rene Robertson entering the pits after 12 laps on mediums is P1. Rene Robertson is P1. John Astrup is P6. Rene Robertson is P1. 5 minutes remaining in the session. John Astrup entering the pits is P6. Eric Bohm is P5, 0.5 seconds behind Emmanuel Rushiuza. San Markham from Zimbabwe is P3, 0.1 seconds behind Rene Robertson. Eric Bohm is P5, 0.3 seconds behind Emmanuel Rushiuza. San Markham on lap 13 is P3, 0.1 seconds behind Rene Robertson. David Forsyth is P7. Emmanuel Rushiuza is P5, 0.4 seconds behind Eric Bohm. Eric Bohm is P4, 0.6 seconds ahead of Emmanuel Rushiuza. San Markham from Zimbabwe is P2, 0.5 seconds ahead of Rene Robertson. Rene Robertson entering the pits after 2 laps on mediums is P3. Emmanuel Rushiuza from Italy is P5, 0.2 seconds behind Eric Bohm. Eric Bohm is P4, 0.7 seconds ahead of Emmanuel Rushiuza. Emmanuel Russia user is P5, 0.4 seconds behind Eric Bone. Eric Bone is P4 with 80 kilos, 1.3 seconds ahead of Emmanuel Russia user. David Forsyth is P7. Eric Bone is P4, 1.4 seconds ahead of Emmanuel Russia user. Alex Amara is P8. Eric Bone is P4, 0.7 seconds ahead of Emmanuel Russia user. Emmanuel Russia user is P5, 1.3 seconds behind Eric Bone. Eric Bone from Germany is P4. Dara Atkinson is P6, 1.7 seconds behind Emmanuel Russia user. David Forsyth is P7. Rene Robertson is P3. Dara Atkinson is P7, 0.3 seconds behind Emmanuel Russia user. Alex Amara on lap 15 is P4. Dara Atkinson is P6, 0.8 seconds ahead of Emmanuel Russia user. Eric Bone from Germany is P4. Alex Amara is P7. Daniel Hand is P1. The leader has just finished the race. Daniel Hand finished P1. Sam Markham finished P2. Rene Robertson finished P3. Eric Bohm is P4. Eric Bohm finished P4. Dara Atkinson finished P5. Emmanuel Rushiusa finished P6. David Forsyth from Ireland is P8. David Forsyth finished P8. Alex Amara is P7.